Oh, hello. Thank you for joining me for Veg with Lisa Live. I'm Lisa. This is going to be obviously live, and today I am going to show you how not to cook. What? How not to cook? Aren't you a health coach? Don't you teach healthy cooking and healthy living? Yes, all of that is true. And let's face it, some people claim they can't cook, which I call BS on that. We'll talk about that in a minute. And also some people just don't like to cook, which there is nothing wrong with that. So today I'm going to show you how not to cook, or conversely, how not to order carryout. Because what is the obvious, the easy and the seemingly obvious solution when we don't want to cook, or we can't cook, or we don't want to put something together? Hello, Rob. We pick up the phone and we call the pizza guy. So if you know someone who claims they can't cook or just doesn't like to cook, tag them in this episode, because I bet you're going to get some really awesome, exciting tips on how not to cook. Okay, so let's get started not cooking, shall we? First of all, say hi in the comments if you're watching, so that I know that you're here and that I can say hi to you as well. What's the big deal with ordering carryout? Yeah? Well, I'll tell you what, I was thinking about this week because I was working remotely. I just needed a change of scenery. Can anybody relate to that? And, you know, I'm still not super crazy about eating out in a crowded restaurant. You know, carryout it gets expensive after time. And it's not that healthy, right? Like, it's totally cool to get a pizza every once in a while, or to order Chinese, or to order Thai food. But we know it's not the best for us, right? Lots of stuff added, and just stuff that we probably don't want to be eating on a regular basis. So what is a girl or guy to do then if they're on the road, maybe staying at an Airbnb with a limited kitchen, or if you're at home and you just don't like to cook? Well, I'm going to show you how you can prep some delicious and healthy meals with a few ingredients. Hi, Ellie! Yay! Ellie, do you like to cook? You can prep a few simple and delicious meals with ingredients that you might already have on hand, or you keep on hand, or that you can easily buy at the supermarket when you're on the road. Okay, shall we get started? Oh, I'm so excited. I love this one. Let me turn you down here and hope that you do not fall over. So I'm going to start by showing you a few things that I just always like to keep on hand, or you can easily purchase at the supermarket. Yeah. The first is, I'm a big fan of bell peppers, colored bell peppers. If you watch this show, you know that I love to use bell peppers. I already cooked the red one and I'll show you, but one red bell pepper has, let's say it together, more vitamin C than an orange. Yes, so you can buy these ready to go. Yeah, Ellie has a great point. She says she's learned to tolerate cooking during the pandemic out of necessity, right? So that's the thing. Oh, hi, Deborah. That's the thing, right? The pandemic has brought on a lot of, shall we say, lessons that we might have been sort of resisting, but in the end, the consequences are really going to be good, because now you've got some new skills, don't you, Ellie? Okay, so I like to keep bell peppers on. I love to keep broccoli on hand. Often, Rob and I keep bags of frozen broccoli in the freezer. Yeah, this happened to be fresh because that one wanted to jump out and didn't want to get it. It's starting to be spring, so you might start to find a few more fresh ingredients, but frozen broccoli, awesome to keep in your freezer, obviously. Spinach. Yes, anybody else? Rob and I always keep big tubs of spinach in the fridge. You could do kale, you could do bags of kale, you could do any kind of greens. Again, super easy to keep on hand or to pick up. Okay, and now this is, and these are just a couple of little fluffy things. I always like to keep some fun things I can toss on at the end. These are broccoli sprouts. Thank you, Summer. And this is fresh cilantro. Not necessary, just a little bit of bonus. This is where it gets really interesting, and I hope maybe there are some things that you may not know about. So some of you might be able to make a meal just on these things, but probably not. We need some stuff to go with it, right? So this is really cool. Oh, hold on. did you know that you can buy, hi Kevin, did you know that you can buy bags of cooked grains, frozen and ready to go? I bought this bag at Whole Foods. They have white rice, they have brown rice. Here is quinoa with some vegetables, same thing, cooked and ready to go. Now, you don't have to get these at Whole Foods. In fact, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm gonna put them on the floor. In fact, I know at Walmart they have cooked rice. I know at Trader Joe's you can buy boxes of brown rice, white rice, quinoa, mixed rices, frozen. They're ready to cook, ready to go. You can throw them in the microwave. Okay, so now we've already got our fresh ingredients. We've got our whole grain that you can buy ready to go. You can also buy these really handy dandy prepared, ready to go main course type of deals. Now these are relatively new. This one, this is Cuban black beans and it's in this little pouch. This one is a chickpea curry, also in a little pouch. And a standby that I love, and I'm going to show you what I did with this, Amy's soups. I am particularly fond of this golden lentil one because it's really easy to add a bunch of good stuff to it and make it a meal. Okay. Oh yeah, falling around here on my counter. Couple other things I found. You can buy rices in these little pouches. This is plain white sticky rice, and this is quinoa. So like with anything, and we talk about this all the time here, you've got to read your labels, right? Because there could be a lot of junk in these things if you're not careful. This particular one is water and organic long grain brown rice. Not a dang thing wrong with that, right? The quinoa one, that had some herbs and spices and things in, but just remember to be on the lookout for added sugar, a ton of sodium. And that's the other thing I hear about these, especially canned soups and some of these pre-packaged dealies, not the rice, but perhaps this curry business. Sodium. So Americans tend to get, I think the American Heart Association statistics say most of us get about 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, and we should only get about 2,300. One can of this Amy's soup has 1,200. So if you ate half of this, you'd be having a quarter of your sodium a day. So one reason to eat at home, because if you think these things have a lot of sodium, how much sodium do you think is on that pepperoni pizza you ordered from the pizza guy? Okay, so we keep all the things on hand, or we know we can get them at the supermarket in a pinch. And now I'm going to show you what to do with them. So I went ahead and cooked some of that brown rice ahead of time. Chuck, is that you? And look at that. Doesn't that look great? I don't usually use a microwave. It took 3 minutes, right? We're talking about keeping things simple and keeping things easy so we can eat a healthy meal without thinking we need to create a gourmet situation and mise en place and mirepoix and chiffonade and all that fancy skip. Oh my gosh, skip all that fancy stuff. Okay, brown rice out of the freezer, in the microwave, in the bowl. Remember I told you about this? I wish you could smell this. Okay, I took that can of Amy's soup. I added some red pepper strips. Gonna throw in a couple of little handfuls of spinach. Then I'm gonna set that back on the stove. And then remember the Cuban black beans. I put them on the stove, and you could do this all in the microwave. I put them on the stove with some red pepper strips. I'm gonna throw in a handful of spinach. That's as fancy as I want to get in the kitchen, saying spinach with a fancy accent, spinach. Okay, I put that back on the stove. Then I come back to my Amy's lentil soup where I've added my red pepper. I've added some fresh spinach, and now I'm going to put it on my cooked brown rice. Oh, this stuff smells so good if you haven't tried this. So again, if you're concerned about the sodium, I hear you. When you add these fresh ingredients, right, we're diluting the sodium content because we've added other stuff to it. It only makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, right? Oh God, I better turn the heat off before I burn the house down. Then Remember that broccoli that we took out of the freezer and popped in the microwave? A couple little broccoli pieces, whatever you call florets on there. Oh my God, I'm so loud. Okay, look at that. Is this beautiful? Now, if you happen to keep some sprouty things on hand, just makes it pretty, and broccoli sprouts are really, really good for you. They've got extra special components for your gut health. I love to keep cilantro on hand. But again, this is just the fancy stuff. You don't have to worry about this. We got brown rice out of the freezer. We got a can of soup that we added some vegetables to. We've got some broccoli that came out of the freezer that we steamed. This is going to be my lunch. Now let me show you Rob's. Okay. Again, brown rice. Remember the Cuban beans? Yum! Yum, yum, yum. This looks great. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. Yeah, read your labels. Where do I get my protein? Ask me. Yeah, well, good, Rob. I'm glad you think it looks good because that's what you're getting for lunch. People ask me, where do I get my protein as a mostly plant-based person? One bag of these Cubans, 14 grams of protein. Americans are obsessed with getting enough protein. We get enough protein. It's fiber. We do not get enough fiber. How many grams of fiber do we need? Say it with me, Ellie. 25 grams per day for women and 38 grams per day for men. How many fibers in this bag of Cubans? Holy cow! 19 grams. So if you ate this with some brown rice and some broccoli, you have blown through the roof of your fiber requirements. Okay, but I forgot about Rob. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna put some broccoli on here. And you can see I'm creating two meals out of this whole show. But you really only need to cook one. You don't have to go to all this trouble, but do you see how little trouble it really is? Maybe some broccoli sprouts for Roberto. She says in her fancy accent. And some cilantro. What do you think? Come on, right? Here, my friends, is how not to order carry out. Dennis, good to see you. Tag a friend who says they can't cook, or maybe they just don't plain like to cook. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to cook. Own it. Be a woman. Get in the kitchen and just prep some food. Thank you for joining me for Veg with Lisa Live. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to eat my lunch. See you next week. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff. It's delicious. Peace out.